Today I would say that we are living one of the most exciting moments of the roaming industry. We're seeing operators who are optimizing their network resources, they are shutting down their legacy networks, but we're also seeing new technologies ramping up like VoLTE. The same is happening with low power wide area networks, and this is already giving us a hint on what we're going to find ourselves within the 5G environment.
For me, what's the most exciting part of it is of course, the technology shift. We are moving into 5G now. There are already discussions around 6G, even though we haven't even experienced this. That part of it is very fascinating for me, all the opportunities that this brings, as well as the complexities and some of the pain points that it brings.
So we kicked off 5G SA roaming in 22, and we are looking forward to grow the community, to welcome also new early movers on 5G SA. So that's a great initiative that we are all excited about at BICS. While operators are moving to 5G, there will be also other opportunity around IoT, around also private networks. So this is also something we are really looking forward to welcome newcomers on this great mobile community.
Well, I think if you look at the GSMA website, I think right now around 25% of all operators there have ruled out all the roaming agreements. And what we hear from operators in many cases, there are of course a few ones that are always very worried about the revenue decrease. But of course what you see with VoLTE, it's going more and more to data-centric solutions. So I think that's one thing that we need to start looking at. But the other one is that operators are very much concerned also about voice continuity. So how do you make sure that you detect correctly who's VoLTE enabled, if there is a VoLTE problem or not, and make sure that these subscribers, that you immediately take actions, that you actually make sure that the voice services can continue in the future.
No doubt in my mind, right? As these shutdowns are happening, it is absolutely clear, the acceleration is happening. 7 out of 10 operators are clearly identifying it as a need and accelerating. There's two pieces from an acceleration perspective that you can think of. One is obviously the commercial piece, more bilateral agreements. The other piece then is the technology. And again, we'll talk about where Syniverse comes in, making the inbound roaming with Evolve Mobility, making that happen. But we see clearly an acceleration in that space right now happening.
Last year was a wake-up call for the whole industry. We have seen network closures in the States, and customer experience was impacted. We'd like to avoid a repetition of what happened last year, so I believe the whole industry is going to focus on VoLTE roaming agreements. We have seen also industry bodies like GSMA and 3GPP focus on addressing the interoperability issues. So there is a lot more focus on VoLTE roaming. This is going to happen in higher volume in 2023, I'm sure.
I think one of the key objectives that operators have these days to ensure a seamless 5G standalone deployment. So operators need to ensure that the services that they've built on the legacy infrastructure, that they allow a transition, so a seamless transition for their customers. But there are many steps that still need to be taken in order to make this happen. And what I'm mainly referring to is the need of having a proper standardization of the new technology.
It's mainly all drilled down to this complexity that I was mentioning, right? All these new technologies, VoLTE, 5G, all the way 2G to 4G, right? How do I make sure that I can monetize these solutions and get a grip of this enterprise market that is up there for me to grab and to build out more revenues? And how do I do that with the different settlement technologies?
One of the main pain points that the industry faced over the last years was the service level agreement. It's something that we as an industry, we couldn't agree on. We don't have service level agreement assurance, so it's something we believe should be addressed. The support that we receive from roaming partners is on a best effort basis, and sometimes it's very frustrating to have customers abroad having issues and not being able to react faster.
You know, of course, everybody knows post-COVID human traffic and human roaming traffic is increasing and will continue to increase. I think when it comes to 5G standalone, is critical to make sure that the value-added solutions, value-added services that you need to provide to those customers are being addressed and are managed well. I think that's a big prioritization that needs to happen for mobile operators. I think the next level, of course, is the machine-to-machine and the IoT part of it, because that is going to explode over the next many years.
Prioritization then obviously needs to be universal commerce as a foundation platform to make sure BCE, the clearing and the settlement solution, is in place from a 5G roaming perspective and the IoT capabilities. So a lot of excitement going on. The one bonus piece that we see right now for operators to look at is private wireless networks. Haven't talked too much about it here today, but it's a key item. Roaming is absolutely needed and required from that perspective, so we're excited to collaborate with operators in that space.
So first of all, operator needs to ensure that they have the best roaming coverage, the best quality, to really tap into the rise of roaming traffic, especially data. On top of that, they need to ensure that the environment is highly secure, that their users are not being, let's say, prone to attack from fraudsters. We also see a rise of IoT with a nice revenue opportunity for mobile operators. So operators really need to make sure they can maximize the value of their asset. And then finally, operators need also to look at their cost and optimize their operation. And with that, they can also leverage managed roaming solution offered by service providers.